Good, welcome, intermediate class. And our theme today is, it's a theme that comes up a lot in the Yoga Sutras. And it has actually several different names and several ways that it appears, but the concept is letting go. And in the first chapter, where it comes up, I think it's the first time it comes up, the idea that we do our practice. So we do the practices that make us feel, oh, someone's here, just a sec. Do the practices that make us feel, more strong, more present. And then we have to let go of the result. And it's with life, we do our very best work. We put our heart and soul into something, and sometimes it doesn't work out. And when we realize that there's nothing else to do, the practice is letting go, right? When we are faced with a challenge, we can either, push and get the result that we want. And sometimes that's the appropriate course of action, right? We can't just fall over and go, oh, well, there's nothing I can do, and let go of everything. And it's the serenity prayer, the serenity prayer, right? I can't remember exactly how it goes, but it's, that I have the ability to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, right? Know when to walk away, know when to run, all of that. The idea that when there's something we can change, we should put our best effort to changing it. And if we can't change it, we need to put our effort into letting go. So it comes up over and over and over in the Yoga Sutras. And the idea in the first chapter, and Kim and Carrie will definitely be familiar with this because it comes up in the teacher training, but the idea of the practice on one hand being a support and letting go being the other support. So if we only have one, we're unbalanced. And in order to, if we think of these things like the wings of a bird, we need both to be able to fly. But we can't just do the practice and then expect that all good things will come to us. Um, life happens, and so we do the practice. We put our best effort into making things work out, and then we have to let go when it doesn't go that way. So today, as we go through the practice, we'll be focusing on forward bends and exhaling, so that energy of letting go with the breath. And if there is something specific that you feel you need to let go of, I invite you to bring that into your mind and use that during the practice today. I would suggest that if there's something huge you need to let go of, that you maybe don't use that in the practice, so that we start with something little, like maybe letting go of the extra carbs or something like that. Not the big stuff, because that can get really overwhelming. But to contemplate, what do I want to let go of? Maybe it's a way of being. Maybe it's a way of beating yourself up for not, I talk to people who are feeling frustrated about not being productive at this time, or whatever it is. So if there is something that you would like to let go of, you can use that in the practice today. And if not, just the energy of letting go, because change is constant, and we will all be called to let go of something. We've all been called to let go of so much in the last few months, so much that it feels draining at times, right? I don't think I'm alone in feeling that. And that is the practice. That is the practice. So we are going to come to our mats, and let's start sitting down today. So if you want to sit on a cushion or even a chair, if you've got one handy or whatever, you can just sit comfortably, and I'll see you on the mat. So you do not have to sit cross-legged. This is how I am comfortable. You can have your legs stretched out. You can be on a chair. The more important thing is not the form of how you're sitting, but that you're comfortable. And I guess the other important part is that you're not slumped over, sort of rounding your back. So try to find a way to have a fairly neutral spine, which is not a straight spine because the spine has curves, but a relaxed and neutral spine. And then take a moment to tune into your breath. Feel the inhale. Feel the exhale and follow your breath from the beginning to the end. Notice when the breath begins with the inhale. Feel when you're comfortably full, the breath turns around, and then notice the exhale. Exhale until you're comfortably empty, and then turning it around to inhale. And if it's comfortable for you, you can add a little bit of a pause between each inhale and exhale. So you'd inhale, and then pause for just a second, and then exhale fully. Pause for just a moment. That pause just helps to bring a little more awareness to the breath. So take a few more breaths like that, really feeling, being present with, noticing the breath. And then if you'd like to use the idea of a specific thing that you would like to let go of, you could bring that into your mind now. And if there's nothing specific, just keep following the breath. And if there's something specific that you would like to release, to let go of, bring that into your mind. And as you exhale, imagine yourself letting go. Imagine how that might feel. Maybe there's relief. Maybe there's sadness. Maybe there's excitement. Maybe there's grief. So as you bring this thing to mind and have the intention of letting go, exhaling, and letting whatever feelings are present to be present. And this is why I suggested to not choose something really big and overwhelming. Practice with the things that feel doable. Let's bring the hands together at the heart. And again, in a gesture of letting go, taking that thing or just the idea of letting go and lifting it. And then exhale, sending it out, freeing yourself. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, sending it out, freeing yourself. One more time. Let's do a little movement for the head and neck. So turning to one side, adding a little sweeping half circle across the front of your chest, going back the other way. See if you can tune in and notice. What are you aware of? What do you feel as you do this movement? Does one side of your neck feel different from the other? Are there any noises? I always think my microphone might pick up all the noises from my neck, but it doesn't. You can make a full circle if you like. As you circle, and In a full circle, you want to always be cautious not to let your head drop back. So it's never going behind your shoulders, or certainly not behind your shoulders to the point where you no longer have control of your head. And eventually come back so that the chin is down toward the chest. Find a little lift in the spine and see if you can relax and drop down. Chin toward chest a little more. Good. And then lifting the head so it's over the shoulders. Let's interlace the fingers. We're going to make a little wave with the hands. So you're going to let one hand come up and the other hand follow. And then you can start to twist and just do a little hand play of your own, maybe stretching out, moving the hands fluidly, eventually releasing and giving them a shake. Squeeze the hands into fists. Good. And then stretch them out. Squeeze, stretch. Right. And then let's take the arms to the sides and turn the palms up so the thumbs are facing back. Spread your fingers wide and relax your shoulders a little. Soften your neck and jaw. You might feel the stretch in your arms a little. If you want a bit more stretch, you can try moving the arms back a little bit. You might need to drop the arms a bit to keep the shoulders from becoming tense. Good. And then bringing the arms forward, cross your hands over your chest. Bring your hands to opposite shoulders so the elbows rest more or less on top of each other. Let your head come down. You can round your back a little bit here and take your elbows a little to one side, a little to the other side. So you're doing just a very gentle sway, almost a tiny twist. And come back to the center. Notice which arm is on top. You're going to release the arms, turn the palms up, reach back. You can bend the elbows a little, lower the arms a little to be comfortable, and then cross the arms the other way. Let your head come down. You can round the upper back a little bit and sway a bit side to side. Notice that space between your shoulder blades. Right, and then come back to the center. Let's take the arms wide again, palms up. And taking the arms straight out to the sides, turn your fingertips down toward the floor. Palms are still facing up. And then start to curl your fingers. So bring the fingers in, then bring the fists in, bring the arms in, hands to the shoulders, and then reverse. So open the elbows, open the wrists, open the hands, turn the fingers down. And again, roll in, and release out. One more time. Right, and give the arms a shake. Shake it all out, right from the shoulders, let it go. And then let the arms come down. And notice the neck, spine, shoulders, arms, the area that we've worked a little bit here. Just notice what's present. What are you aware of? We're going to move over onto all fours, and I'm going to invite you, if you feel comfortable with this and it feels right for you, to make some sound. So one way that we release and we let go is by making sound. So I know for me it's a big thing when I feel blocked, I feel tight in the throat, and if I can make some sound, it often loosens things up a little bit. So we're going to move on to all fours and work with the simple movement that you're all really familiar with, is moving from all fours to child's pose. It's called Chakrasana. And as you do that, you're welcome to, if it feels right for you, to make some sound on your exhale. So It could be an ah or a or a whatever feels right for you. So you can inhale, find a little bit of arch. As you exhale, moving from there to child's pose. So continue. You can make sound if that feels right for you. You can just work with your breath if that feels better. At the end of each exhale, pause for a moment in child's pose. Let your head go. Right, let's come back up to all fours. And we'll come to sit again. This time you don't need a cushion or blanket or anything under you. In fact, it's better if you don't. And we'll work a little bit with the hips here. Taking the legs wide. You can rest back on your hands, but try not to slump your back so you're still sitting pretty tall. And let the knees go side to side. So one hip will lift as you go side to side. And you may even want to release the back arm. So as the knees go down, you can maybe reach back or just let the body come a little forward if that feels better for you. Right, and then coming back to the center, let's sit back a little bit and move your legs a little straighter. And we're going to take one leg, lift it up, and bring the ankle across the opposite thigh. So you may not feel any stretch here. If you feel some stretch, this might be where the pose ends for you. If you want more stretch, you're going to start to sit up with your upper body, bringing your hands a little forward and maybe walking the foot on the floor towards you till you feel a little bit of stretch somewhere in the outer thigh, most likely of the leg that you've got lifted, the one where the foot is on your knee. You can rock the legs a little bit side to side. So we're still warming up. Don't go for the biggest possible stretch you can find. You can flex your foot to keep your ankle in line with the lower leg, help protect your knee here. Right, and then let's stretch out the leg that was on the floor. Bring the other foot to the floor, so off the leg onto the floor. Bring your hands around that knee and use the hands on the knee to lift your spine tall. Great, and then reach down and take your foot. So for me, I can reach, I've got long arms, I can reach my hands on either side of the leg. For some of you, you might reach both hands to the inside to take your foot. Or you might use a belt or even, I don't have one here, but a sock, just two ends of a sock to hold your leg. So we're going to act like we're rowing a boat here, reaching forward and coming in. So the knee either comes between your two arms or it can come out to the side if that works better for you. Right. And then as you bring that foot back down, you're going to, again, use your hands to support you from behind to lift up tall. Let the knee come to the side. Now, if this feels uncomfortable for your hip, place a blanket or pillow underneath your knee. If that still doesn't work for some people, if the knee doesn't want to bend that much, taking the leg out to the side instead. So find the way of being with this particular position that's right for you. Use your hands to lift you tall. Flex the foot of the long leg. So we'll move dynamically here. So we're going to lift the arms up, breathing in. As you exhale, sweep forward. The hands come wherever they reach on your leg. And then you'll inhale and lift up. So exhale, come forward. Inhale, lift. Do a couple more like that. Great. Now this time, once you end up upright with your arms up in the air, find lots of length in your spine. Come forward without bending your back and let your hands come to rest wherever they reach. So for me, it's just around my knee. And for most people, it'll be somewhere, between the lower thigh, upper shin. Growing long, breathing in. As you exhale, go a little forward. Try to move forward without rounding your back. So keep long, take a breath in, lengthen. Exhale a little more forward. You'll get to a point probably pretty quickly where you're stuck. You can't go any more forward without forcing things. When you get to that point, then you can either keep your hands on your leg, bring them to the floor, let your head release down, and take a few breaths here. Janu Shirshasana. Notice where you feel the stretch. Breathe into that tightness, into that restriction. If there's something you're working to let go of, as you exhale, feel yourself let that go. Have the intention of releasing. One more breath. When you're ready, come all the way up, breathing in. Exhaling, release. You can rest back on your hands again. Give your body a little bit of a break. Mosquito in the house. It's that time of year. Give your legs a little shake. Right. And then we'll bend both knees just a little bit and work with the opposite side. So you can lean back to bring the other leg on top. And again, if you want more stretch, you're sitting more upright. So the more you slump back, the less stretch you'll feel. And the closer you bring the foot on the floor, the closer the legs will come to your body. And again, the more you're going to feel that stretch. So we're looking for mild stretch, not spicy stretch. Good. Again, you could go a little side to side if that helps. And then releasing the foot, you can bring that foot to the floor, the one that was on your knee. And then again, we're reaching for the foot, either both arms inside or one in, one out. You're lifting the heel, leaning back, and like we're rowing a boat, you're reaching forward and coming back. You can rock your whole body here. So whole body comes a little forward and back. Good. And then bring your foot to the floor. And again, we'll allow the knee to release to the side, and do check in because we're not symmetrical. This side might need some support while the other didn't, or vice versa. Bring your hands behind you to start with. So we really want to find our sit bones. So feel that you're on your sit bones, not slumped back on your tailbone. And honestly, for many people, if not most people, just sitting upright, 90-degree angle between your torso and your leg, you're already feeling some stretch in the back of the leg. One thing, if it's a lot of stretch, you might try, I didn't mention this on the other side, but you could take a folded blanket under the knee just to give a little bit of a bend and take some of that pressure off. So wherever you're at, you are only going as far forward as feels like a nice, gentle warming up stretch. So we're lifting up with a breath in. You're coming forward. As you exhale, the hands come wherever they reach. And then you'll lift back up again, breathing in. Exhale, coming forward. Continue. A few more at your own pace. And then we'll come upright, find that length again, and this time without rounding the back, bringing the hands onto the leg. So again, it's probably somewhere in the vicinity of your knee. Each breath in, you're lifting the heart and finding length in your spine. Exhale, maybe going slightly forward with that same long spine. Inhale, lift. Exhale, come forward. It's not about how far we go forward, but really tuning in. Is this stretch right for me? Can I relax here? Or do I have to hold tension to resist the stretch? I mean, when we're stretching, we want to be active in our stretching, but we don't want to be tense or fighting ourselves. Good. When you've gone as far as forward as you comfortably can, then allow your body to round, release, and relax. The hands can stay on the leg, come to the floor. I'm breathing here. Use this opportunity again to come back to your intention. If there's something specific you're wanting to let go of, come back to your breath. As you exhale, imagine yourself letting go. Soften where you can. When you're ready to come up, we'll lift with a breath in, reaching the arms overhead. And exhaling to release. You can, again, use your hands for support behind you. Stretch out your legs and give them a good shake. Right. So we'll come over onto our knees, and you want to be in the back half of your mat for this, the kneeling sun sequence or sun salutation. So if you kneel sort of with your knees somewhere, if your feet are towards the back of the mat, that should give you enough space. Now, if sitting down on your knees doesn't work for you, start here in the upright kneeling position. And if you need a blanket under your knees or some support, please do that. So from either the tall kneeling or low kneeling, we'll inhale and lift, breathing in. As you exhale, we'll come to child's pose. The hands will come to the mat. Release your head and neck. Let's take a breath or 2 or 5 in child's pose. And here again, if a quiet sounding helps you to get into that energy of letting go, you could come back to sounding as you hold the pose. One more breath. Let's come back up to all fours, breathing in. Plant your hands under your shoulders or slightly ahead of your shoulders with the heels of your hands and all 5 fingers, or all 10 fingers, I guess, pressing into the ground. Tuck your toes under and lift the knees to come to downward dog. Keep your knees bent. Send your hips back. Let your head relax between your arms. There's nothing to see in front of you. Look back toward your knees or your feet. And try to find length from your wrists to your hips. A nice long straight line. Let your head relax even more. Draw the elbows slightly towards each other to help open up the back of the shoulders, and try to let your neck relax even more. And then back to all fours, breathing in. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, high kneeling, lifting all the way up. And then exhale back to where you started. So it could be high kneeling with the arms down or low kneeling with the arms down. And we'll continue. So we'll use that as our basic pattern, and we'll add on different movements in between. So if you find stepping forward into, say, lunge or warrior is better for you with blocks, and you've got blocks, you can certainly bring them towards the front of your mat. Otherwise, just invite you to get there however works for you today. So from here, lifting up, breathing in, and then coming to child's pose with your exhale. Let your head release. Come to all fours with your inhale. Exhale, move into downward dog. Inhale, lift one leg, doesn't matter which. Exhale, swing it through to come to lunge. So again, that's the trickiest move here. So find your way there. However, if you need to lower the back knee and shuffle the foot forward, feel free. And then think about drawing your back hip forward and your forward hip back. So you're feeling like you're connecting the two hips together. And that helps to protect you from overstretching as you maybe lift up. So you could bring your hands onto your front knee if you like. And if you feel a little more energetic and stable here, you could lift the arms right overhead. Good, breathing in. And then exhale, hands down. We'll step back to downward dog. Take a breath or two here. And focus on pressing into the palms, reaching back with the hips, and straight legs and heels down is not important. But let's come down to all fours, breathing in. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, high kneeling, and we're going to come back straight to child's pose from high kneeling, exhaling. And then inhale, all fours. Exhaling, downward dog. As you inhale, raise one leg, the right leg this time. Exhale, swinging through to lunge. Pause here to set things up. So you want to engage the back leg right up into the buttock. Pull that leg forward as you draw the other leg back. So you feel really engaged. And if it feels right for you, you can lift up, hands onto your thigh. If not, stay down. Other option is to lift all the way overhead. And lowering the arms, step back to downward dog. Coming to all fours, breathing in. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, lifting all the way up. And exhale, back to your starting position. So let's come to all fours for a moment. And swagging the tail side to side, and move slowly so you feel the stretch in the side of the ribs, the hips, the waist. You can let your head go side to side as well. And you can play around. So there's one way of doing it where the head goes one way and the hips go the other, sort of a swinging motion. And there's another way where head and hips go to the same side, like a C shape, and then they go to the other side. So try both ways. Notice what feels different between them. It's not like one is better than the other, they're just different. Right, and then if your knees allow, come to child's pose. If that's hard on your knees, you might just be up in puppy pose for this one or do another variation that may work better for you. So we're going to slide the hips to one side. So in child's pose, sliding the hips, I'm taking my hips over to the left side, and then I'm going to walk my hands out to the right side. Let my head come down between my hands. Now my head doesn't quite reach the ground. Yours might, it may not. If it doesn't reach the ground, you could use a block to support your head, or you could take your right hand, the one that's on the inside of your curve, make a fist with it, and take that fist under your forehead. If that's enough support, that might just release your neck so you're not holding it there. Take a few breaths, breathing into that long side of your body. If you're on the same side as me, it's your left side. And then we'll make our way back to the center. And coming to all fours, do a couple times either cat, cow, or move from all fours to child's pose. You might notice the feeling that's different from one side of your torso to the other. Maybe one more, and then we'll move into the side stretch on the other side. So again, you'll let the hips drop off. Walk the hands away. So whichever hip is dropped to the side, that same arm, you want to keep it well extended to keep that stretch. The other hand, in this case, my left hand, could make a fist to support my head, not your head. Your hand supports your head. And then breathing into that long side, all the way from the armpit to the hip. Relax your neck as much as possible. If this position just feels tense and difficult, come out of it, go back to movement on all fours, whatever would feel good. Good. And then come back to the center. And again, a few rounds of cat-cow or all fours to child's pose. Sometimes when we're in a yoga class, there's some pressure or some perceived pressure to do poses a certain way or to stay in a pose as long as everybody else, or push ourselves a little harder. And one of the beautiful things about practicing at home is we really can let that go, right? No one can see you. You can really honor your body here. I mean, the downside is it's easy to get lazy or walk away. So stay with it, but really honor your body. Good. Coming back to all fours, you take the hands a bit forward of the shoulders. Let the hips come forward so that when your hips, knees, and shoulders are in line, and you can adjust as you need to, your hands, your wrists are right underneath your shoulders. So we're kind of in a kneeling plank. If you want to work a little harder, lift to a full plank, taking the knees off the ground. So you want to make sure you're not sagging at the shoulders, you're not sagging in the belly. This is a strengthening pose, but if it's too much, knees down is a better option. And let's release down to the ground. So you can do that like a push-up, or you can roll down from your thighs to your forehead. Maybe slide the hands forward so your elbows are on the ground, taking the pressure off your wrists. And gently pull back with your lower arms towards your hips as you engage the hips and press down into the ground. So from here, we'll lift up into Cobra, lifting with a breath in and lowering back down as you exhale. Keep that little bit of traction, pulling back toward the hips, pressing down into the hips, lifting with a breath in, lowering as you exhale. And then if you like, you can stay for a few breaths. Notice the back of your neck. If you're cranking your head up, the back of your neck is going to be compressed, so keep length there. You can either lower down or stay up and switch your hands, palms to the ground by the rib cage, toes tuck under. Again, you can come to all fours first or come straight up to downward dog. Take a few breaths here in downward dog. If you like, you can walk your feet in place. Let your head release. Back to all fours, breathing in. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, high kneeling. And exhale back to where we started. So we're going to move into a new pose today called pigeon. Some of you I know are familiar with pigeon pose. So I want to maybe, if you're familiar with it, you can go ahead and go into it. If you're not so familiar, if you're not sure about the pose, then you might just listen and watch for a second. So in pigeon pose, the front knee is on the ground. So if we come even from all fours, you can do this from all fours or from downward dog. You would take the knee toward the wrist on the same side. And then wiggle your foot a little bit towards the other side Slide the other leg back. So you can either sit on your foot, having the foot on the opposite thigh, or you can have the foot in front of your thigh. The important thing here is if there's some space between the buttock and the ground on the side of the leg that's forward, you want to fill that space with a cushion or a blanket. So from the front, you could be sitting on your leg. I'm not sure if you can really see that, or you can wiggle the foot forward and come down, filling the space underneath your bum. So choose the side to start with. Bring the knee to the wrist, either sitting on the foot if that's okay with your knee and your ankle, or wheeling the foot a little forward, maybe filling this space. So pigeon is a back bend. As we lift up in pigeon, you can probably feel the arc of your spine. Press it down into your back leg and engage up through the buttock. And then if you like, you can come into the resting pigeon on the forearms. The head could be on the hands or on the ground. Most people will feel some stretch in the hip of the leg that's bent, the outer hip. You might feel it elsewhere. You want to be very cautious that you're not feeling any pain in your front knee. If that's the case, I suggest you come out of the pose or be more upright, taking the pressure off the knee, or a higher lift in the bum, which will, again, take some pressure off the knee. When you're ready, you can switch sides. So you either step to downward dog or back to all fours. And then if you've got something you're using to pad that space, you can move it over to the other side. And then in your own time, so knee comes toward the wrist on the same side. So if it's your right knee, it's the right wrist. And then your foot's going to wiggle to the other side. So if it's your right leg, it'll be to the left. You can slide back a little with the back leg. And then maybe filling up that space under the hips so that your hips are even. And then maybe adding a bit of back bend, walking the hands towards you, lifting the chest. And then if you like, you can come into the reclining pigeon or resting pigeon, head coming down. Again, it could be forehead on the ground if that's accessible to you. You might be up on your forearms. You might have a cushion or a block under your head if that's available and appropriate. A little adjustment you could make, if you like, is to tuck your back toes under while you're in the pose, lift the knee, reach back with your heel, and then lower the leg again. And that creates lots of space in the front of the hip of the long leg. So we're getting the outer hip stretch on one side, hip flexor stretch on the other side. Again, honoring your knee, honoring anything about your body that doesn't feel right here. If you need to come out, absolutely do anytime. When you're ready, you'll come back up onto your hands. And tuck your back toes under. Either come to downward dog or to all fours. And then if you've come to downward dog, you can come down to all fours. If you've got something on your mat, you can move it out of the way. And let's inhale, lengthen. Exhale, child's pose. If child's pose is comfortable, stay here for a few breaths. Again, any variation with the head on the ground or the hands or up on the forearms, if that's more comfortable. Hips lifted, again, if that is better for you. Right, and then from child's pose, we'll make our way onto our backs. So you can just swing around, come to lie down. And as you come to lie down, take a moment, knees bent, hands on the body. Just come back to your breath. Back to this idea of letting go. Working hard to create the change that we want, to make the life that we want, the relationships that we want. And then at some point we have to let go of whatever the result might be. As you exhale, tune into that vibrational energy of letting go. Feel your body soften. When we're holding on, there's tension. When we're clinging, when we're refusing to accept what is, we create so much tension. And then that fine line between fighting for what's important to us and realizing that it's time to let go. Exhale and feel that tension soften. Again, if you've got something specific you're working with, you can bring it into your mind. And as you exhale, have the intention and vision of it being released. Let's bring the right knee, or really either knee, we'll do both sides. Bring one knee into the chest. And stretch the other leg straight out on the ground. Press out with the long leg through the heel. Draw in with the bent knee. And then as long as this is okay with your lower back and feels comfortable for you, we're going to engage the muscles of the core and slowly start to lift the leg that's straight, bringing it up toward the ceiling. Pause there, flex your foot, feel a little bit of stretch in the back of that leg. You can bring it a bit closer if you want a bit more stretch. You're not pulling on the leg, just holding it there. And then very slowly release the leg down. When you bring the foot to about an inch off the floor, see if you can hold it there and notice where you have to hold your body to keep the leg there and where also you could let go. So you don't need to screw up your face, or your jaw doesn't need to clench to hold the leg here, but the stomach muscles definitely have to work. Right, holding there as long as you can. Well, maybe not as long as you can, because some of you could probably hold this all day, but for a few more breaths anyway. Good, and then releasing. Slowly let the leg down. Release the leg that you've been holding. Stretch your arms up overhead and take a big stretch through both sides of the body, from the fingertips to the feet. And then when you're ready, bring the other knee in, taking a hold of that leg, drawing it in comfortably toward your body. Press out with the other heel. And then again, engaging the muscles of your core, but softening the muscles that you don't need in order to do this movement. And we'll slowly lift the leg up. Bringing the leg up until you feel some stretch in the back of the leg. It's a very gentle stretch there. And then as you slowly lower the leg, keep the abdominal muscles engaged. Soften the jaw, shoulders, neck, face. Using your core to hold the leg an inch or two above the ground for a few breaths. Make sure you're breathing. Don't hold your breath here, though it's pretty tempting to do that because it's definitely effort. And when you're ready, slowly lower that leg. Reach out with the other leg, reach the arms overhead, and take a few long breaths. And then gradually let your arms come down to your sides, and we'll bend the knees, bringing the feet to the floor. Arms out to the sides, and we'll work with a gentle twist, Jatara Parivriti, or it's actually stomach twist or liver twist is the translation, but we often say spinal twist because it's also twisting the spine. But it's a very nice little massage for the organs as well. So arms to the sides, letting the knees go down to one side as you turn the head the other way, and then back to center as you breathe in. Exhaling, reversing, alternating sides each time. Go at your own pace, inhaling center, exhaling to the sides. If you like, you can stay in the twist for a few breaths. So if you want to make the twist a deeper twist and that would feel good to you, you can bring the top leg further across the body and up towards your hand, down toward the ground. And if you want less twist, you're going to take the leg the other way, bringing the foot to the floor, maybe even raising the knee toward the ceiling. Some more twist, going further across, less twist, coming back more to the center. And then eventually you can switch sides. So whenever you're ready, knees going the other way. And again, finding the twist that works for you. It doesn't have to be static. You can kind of move into a deeper twist and move out of it, or you can go there and stay and breathe if that feels good for you. Take your time. Whenever you feel done with the twist, there's no rush, no pressure. When you feel even, so I can't see you. I don't know if you've done both sides, so take your time, and whenever you're ready. Our counter pose to bring the spine and the hips back to alignment is Apanasana, knees to chest. So drawing in and then straightening your arms to move away. So it's exhale as you draw in, squeezing the breath out, stretching and massaging the lower back, moving the knees away, weight moves out to the sacrum, and back in. You can hug the knees and rock side to side or circle or just stay still and breathe. Taking a few deeper breaths. Again, if it feels good, you can sigh or make some sound. Ah. Mm. Eventually releasing your legs if you're still holding them. And then we're going to move into Shavasana, our relaxation. If you're feeling like you want to be more energized at the end of the class, you could do your Shavasana seated. If you feel like you just want to relax and enjoy the time to let go in Shavasana, you can stay lying down. So give you a moment to get what you need if you want to add props under your knees or a blanket, or if you want to change your position or move to a more comfortable place. Take your time to do that. So once you find your position, make those little adjustments to be as comfortable as possible, and then at some point commit to the position. Of course, if you're uncomfortable, you can move, adjust. Try to avoid the kind of fidgeting. We can spend the whole time in Shavasana just trying to find that 1% more of ease or comfort. So at some point, choose your position, commit to it, come to stillness, and come back to your breath. Exhale and feel yourself let go of tension, let go of the effort of the practice. Let go of that specific thing you've been working with if you've chosen something today. And then that general sense that as human beings, we're often called to let go of things that are challenging, that we'd rather hold on to. And when we do the practice, we build those muscles, starting with things that are easier, and eventually finding our way to accept even the biggest letting go and losses that we can imagine. Exhale, feel your breath softly leaving, feel your body softly grounding into the earth. Let the muscles around your eyes soften and all the muscles of your face and jaw let go. Practice letting go of tension in the body. Practice finding ease in your breath. Let the weight of your head sink down, the shoulders and arms release. Rib cage, all the muscles that support the ribs softening. Belly softening. Dropping down through the pelvis. Let go of any tension in the belly. Let go of any holding in the buttocks. Find a little more ease in your thighs and your knees. Dropping down through the calves, ankles, feet. Exhale, let go. As thoughts bubble up in your mind, exhale and let them go too. Whatever arises, let it fall away just as easily. Every breath, a deeper softening and letting go. The chant that I'll share with you today is a chant about deeply letting go. And that when we do the practice with a dedicated heart, what we need to let go of becomes like ripe fruit that just falls from a tree, or a ripe pumpkin that detaches from the vine. So when we do the practice, there's less tension, less holding, more ease in letting go. So I'll share this chant with you now. Om Triambakaya Jamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor mukshiyamamritat. Like the fruit that falls from the tree when it's ripe, our practice ripens us and allows us the grace, moment by moment, to choose to let go of that which we cannot change. If you'd like to stay longer in Shavasana, you can ignore me and stay where you are. And if you're ready to move on with your day, you can start to bring a little more depth to the breath and a little more energy into your breathing. You can gradually start to move your fingers and toes, stretching and moving in any way that would feel good right now. And then gradually, if you're lying down, you can come back to sitting, rolling onto your side to make a nice easy transition if that's right for you. And bringing the palms together at your heart. And again, in that gesture of releasing, taking a breath in, and then releasing everything that no longer serves you. Let it go. 2 more times, breathing in, lifting, exhaling, letting go. 1 more. And releasing. Bring the hands back together. Namaste.